Hello, welcome to the 7th SEAscreen Academy. Southeast Asian Screen Academy is a film training and development program initiated by film director Riri Riza and Rumata Art Space. SEAscreen brings all filmmakers from Southeast Asia, whether they are already prominent or aspiring ones, in a friendly, small, and intimate collaboration and interactions. SEAscreen is also film culture for Asian region, particularly for Southeast Asia region. Therefore, not only film training and development, SEAscreen is also held any other sub-programs such as panel discussions, workshop, and film screening. SEAscreen Academy, in this time with another theme, Manifesto. For 3 days, SEAscreen aims to open any kind of dialogue about Southeast Asia's film industry, from its diversity, uniqueness, movement, and many more. And today we have a very exciting discussion with two Southeast Asian filmmakers who have experience using virtual reality as a tool to tell their stories. My name is Aditya Ahmad. I'm a filmmaker from Indonesia, and I will be the moderator on this session, Storytelling in the Near Future, VR as a New Medium. I welcome my guests in this discussion, Idel Mundo from the Philippines and Anissa Ajam from Indonesia. And in the next 90 minutes, we'll talk about their motivation and experience in using virtual reality as a storytelling medium and the future of storytelling. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for
Thank you.
inviting.
Yes.
Okay, as a brief introduction, as a director, writer, and producer, he has made several short films, film series, and currently developing his first feature-length film, Anos, which is won the Focal Award in Torino Film Lab. She's one of the producers of Love Diaz film The Halt. She also has two upcoming VR projects. Wow, very exciting. Her VR project, The Worship, was the pioneering selection for Biennale College Cinema VR at the 74th Venice Film Festival. And Anissa is also a director, producer of Indonesian short films, focus on social and minority issues. Previously has worked as a content director and producer in Cinema Pictures. And at 2017, she took a course in directing and VR at Random's Film School. And she was involved in the immersive virtual reality documentary film project with Festival Film Dokumenter Yogyakarta. All right, we'll talk about more of this experience in the conversation, and uh, some of well-known filmmakers such as Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu, Robert Rodriguez, and who else? Darren Aronofsky's and Chai Ming Liang from Malaysia have made immersive VR films. I got a chance to experience for the first time in VR films in VR Venice at 2018. It was one of it was Darren Aronofsky. He was the producer of this VR film, and it was very amazing. And it was blown. My mind was blown. Um, I was drawn into the story, and the visual and the sound design is very just amazing. I'd like to ask you, maybe first. I'd like to ask you to share a bit. When did you start um, exploring virtual reality to tell your stories, and what intrigued you to go there?
So I work a lot with festivals here in California, but I also go to a lot of festivals. So I go to Sundance yearly. I mean, I'm a very, very, it's one of my favorite things to do. It's a very amazing experience. But in 2015, I think that's when they really exploded with the VR, and that's like when I first touched the technology, and it was, I think, through. Have you guys seen this VR film called Notes on Blindness?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not that, but they also premiered in Sundance. Within that realm of master filmmakers of VR makers, sorry, is Chris Milk. I do not know if you've heard of Chris Milk. So Chris Milk is also one of the guy. He's like the
Mhm.
Spielberg meets Scorsese meets Inarritu kind of guy of
In the
VR.
VR.
And on that time, he was just still developing the technology and
Mm.
developing the universe and developing everything. And he had this thing that is was installed in the I think New Frontier is what they called it in Sundance, and it's called the Presence or something like that. And then with that, I was just captured. And then year after year, Chris Milk would always be there. So I was like, oh my God, there is something going on with VR. And yeah, then it just catches me. And then with the Notes on Blindness, with the same feel, but more without, like, imagine, if you guys have seen Notes on Blindness, I bet you've seen it, right?
Yes.
It's just mostly sound for me. It, even if you close your eyes,
Yeah.
it's the endearing quality of bringing you to another perspective that really got me thinking this is the most effective tool out there for storytelling, for immersive storytelling, that is. Yeah.
Wow. When was it?
2015, I think. I go every year, but I think that's when they start, because New Frontier is a Sundance section wherein they discuss new ways for storytellers like us to showcase. If you want the split screen, if you want crazy wall installations like that, they did that long before VR existed.
Mm.
And then when VR exploded with Chris Milk, they had this massive new tents, like new locations to be in, because VR is just expanding and expanding. So I think 2015 was really when it started with me and when it started here. Yeah.
And
But I bet.
then and then you started to make your own VR project right
Yeah,
after
but
that,
these
or?
are like, it did not happen right away. I just had to immerse myself, right? It's like,
Yeah.
what the heck, what's going on? Like, you don't go to Mars
Yeah.
right away. You just want to study how is it to live in Mars and how is it to go there.
Actually.
And you're like, oh shit, it's possible, and the
Yeah.
possibilities are endless. Yeah, right, Anissa?
Yeah. I feel you.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Anissa? When did you start?
So I wasn't really familiar with VR until 2017. I think it's kind of similar with what E experienced. It
Yeah.
was introduced by film festival because I was being attendee and I was like, oh, one program in London when I was studying there. And it was so amazing because they have like this installation and those kind of like special room. And I was getting so curious about what's happening there. And from being audience, and I sort of volunteered myself to work as a technician. It's called PR technician, so I kind of like helping people to get the experience from the moment they enter the room until
Mhm.
they left the room. And it's also how to sort of like activate the complementary aspect of the VR experience. So helping with the somehow like the vibration chair, the heat, the atmosphere, and the whole even the smells of the room.
Yeah.
It's actually really helping the experience, the whole journey of watching VR. So when I learned about that and they trained me about this kind of goal, like the big goal of how we having like a special experience for each individual, and we really respect how people experience the film, the VR film. So I think that's really hooked me because nobody really cares that much about someone's experience in watching,
Yeah. Yeah.
because maybe in like conventional cinema we're like a bunch of people who watch the same film, but in VR it's like we getting like specialized or customized by each person, and each experience is different from other experience, other people experience. So I think that's what makes me feel like I want to know how to make it. So it's not just like I want to watch it, but it's like I want to be part of the maker. And same what he said, like it took like a lot of time to digest, like how they made it, like what kind of immersive, what kind of interactive, and why I felt so attached with the VR after I watched the film. So I think that's the most important reason why I stick to VR filmmaking, because I felt it. Like I really truly felt the difference, a long lasting impact when I finished the movie every time. So yeah, I think that's the big reason for me. Yeah. So I took, I mean, like it took like 1 year, so then I finally can make my own film. So it's still the same, like take a gap year to understand it first, to learn about it first.
All right. So from that experience, then you took a course
Yeah.
on VR, right?
Yeah.
So your first VR project was last year.
Yeah.
Can
Mm.
you can you tell us a bit um, your experience, your first experience telling stories on VR? Um, Maybe you can tell us the pros and cons
Mm,
on using VR to convey your stories.
yeah.
What did you find you could achieve from using VR, and what did you find you lost from using VR
Mm,
compared
yeah.
to using the traditional way of
Mhm.
filmmaking?
Yes. I think I want to start with how I felt Indonesian filmmaking perceiving about, I mean, they perceive how they perceive a VR film here in Indonesia, because I came from the background where I knew VR in London, and how I learned the VR directing there and the distribution and marketing workshop there. So they kind of like feel like, oh my God, VR is something, the future. I mean, we have a lot of things to be explored. Those kind of spirit that they actually influenced me. And so I bought like VR headset. I came back to Indonesia and I thought like, oh, well, let's make a VR film, and then let's start it. And then when 2018, when I arrived and came back to Indonesia, sort of like settled myself in Jakarta, I thought like nobody can, especially live action VR. I mean,
That's what
when
I
I,
felt.
yeah, right. Oh my God, I'm not alone. Yeah. Basically I thought like I sort of like googled like VR company in Indonesia. I found like all of them sort of like making it into CGI or 3D animation and game, so it's a good thing. But then I tried to talk with them in the possibility of live action in narrative way or documentary VR. But yeah, they kind of like, who gonna watch it, like who, I mean, like where are you gonna exhibit it? And then I was like, oh yeah, actually, it's not that very popular here. I mean, it's not yet popular at that time. And when in 2019 I saw this biggest documentary film festival in Indonesia, the oldest one. It's
Mhm.
called Forum Film Documenter. They made a funding, like they kind of like having partnership with the NGO, international NGO from I forgot where the country is, but somehow international NGO, and
Mhm.
they opened a funding for disability VR film. So that's very intriguing, because I actually have like an experience with disability issue as well in my family. So I thought like maybe I could explore this. And some of my friends actually, we've been working with a deaf actor. So I kind of like wanted to explore more of VR on a how to say it, like a deaf artist into a
Mhm.
VR. So it's like a deaf dancer, or also like that. Even one of them is singing by sign language. So there's a lot of possibility of in the creative industry actually for deaf people or deaf friends. So we pitched that idea into a VR, and then this forum actually expect just making 360. So it's not just like a VR interactive or immersive or anything like that yet.
Mhm.
But then because I choose the subject who is deaf, and I thought we really need an immersive one, at least like some complementary gadget. So we built uh, like a, how to say it, like a glove, but it's really from raw. So we made it like manually from raw. It's not by PR stick or something like that, but from scratch. Like my engineer was like making it from like a glove, or like just like traditional glove, and make it like into this electricity and stuff into it to make a vibration. So for the deaf people who watch it, they can obviously they can being fascinated by the visual, but at the same time they can learn music by the vibration. What when they sense the vibration. So it's like to learn music for deaf people, but at the same time for us who is hearing, we can learn how people with disability coping up with the music, because music is for everyone. So this kind of project that we built last year, and we finally exhibited at the end of last year to the deaf community, and that what make me feel so ease, because they kind of sort of dancing when when they watch it, and they're sort of like dancing to the beat. And I was so, I mean, I expected, but I did not actually expect the response so correctly like that. So I was like, oh my god, this is, I think, why VR live action somehow still being needed, especially for situation that we couldn't really reach, and the VR function is really working when we assemble that together. So I think that's kind of the moment where I really validate my passion through live action filmmaking, and I still want to continue it. So yeah, that's a bit of my project last year.
Wow, that's so great. Um, I wonder how long the duration, the experience.
My film is just 7 minutes, but it actually I consider it long. It has like 5 scenes. We follow a deaf teacher, like a dance teacher, and we talk about how what made her wanted to pursue dance as a career, and then we follow her students who also happen to be deaf students, and then at the end we have kind of like the stage where it's actually a live stage, like the my subject actually having a theatrical performance with all the deaf students in that theater. So it's kind of quite long for 7 minutes, but I think that's the way people get to why it's important for deaf community to learn arts, and how they perceive arts really important for their life. Yeah, to say 7 minutes, and now it can also be watched by a website. So they made a website for distribution. So I think it makes more sense for anyone who wants to watch it, because due to COVID, we don't have chance to make exhibition anymore yet, but maybe next year. Yeah, so yeah, I think that's the way we distribute it to the community and to the public.
All right. And what about you, E? You have a lot of VR projects, right?
Yeah, I have a lot of projects, but I think Anisa's more advanced. What music did you play to them, Anisa, if I may
Pardon?
ask? What music did you play with them?
Oh, we so actually we, because it's a documentary and a live action. So our subject was preparing a theatrical stage, and they play a traditional music from East Indonesia. So
I
they
see.
sort of really teach that music. But then in the beginning, we show a little bit of context that our subject actually learn also like R&B music, because
Yeah,
in our public like public place in here, like somehow people, the group dance, they were like practicing their dance there, and then our subject sort of can feel it from here, that
yeah,
the vibration was like so strong, and then she sort of like imitate the movement according to the the vibration that he felt. Yeah. So two music that we use for the gloves,
Yeah.
the DIY glove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. All
Oh,
right. Sorry, you're asking me. Okay. So mine is totally different. But it's also the same. I don't know if I'm saying it. But Anissa, you are far more advanced than me. So our project was selected for the Venice Biennale College, which they're launching the VR edition, and ours is the only Asian project there, and it's called The Warship. It's a documentary film too. It's a documentary VR immersive film, 360, that is about this warship in the middle of the West Philippine Sea that is now being commandeered by this China, and there is a warship that is given to us by the United States of America right after the Vietnam War, and it's just serving as like the only in a way like a post, but it's in the middle of nowhere. It's surrounded by water, and there are 12 Navy men that are serving there yearly, and they get shifted every 6 months.
Mm.
So they're there for 6 months with nothing. You have nothing, right? So, and you see our government in the Philippines is not that protective to those men. So how they get the meals and how they get the food is through only airdrops, because Chinese warships are in the area. So you kind of see already there's like a geopolitical
Mm.
environment again
Yeah.
struggle there, like any of my films. And the story really follows them from sunrise to sunset, because that's the title of like the two sections of the film. And we just see basically their daily lives and how they are sitting on a rotting ship. So the bottom of the ship is all rusted and it's all dingy, and it's beautiful, trust me. And we did it with the help of all the experts with Biennale. We got to talk to Sony, and we got to talk to a lot of people in it with the pros and cons of VR. Of course, as traditional filmmaker, it kind of like with your question, Aditya, literally the technology to some it's not yet known. Let's just be very honest. VR is not known to everybody. My mother would be
Yeah.
like, what is VR? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, right, like that's not a tool that everybody is used to and
Mhm.
everybody is like adaptable to yet. And it's such an isolating tool, I think, because you're on your own world, right? And it's just your universe. Unlike in cinema, and when we're watching in cinema, I mean, it's a social experience. People
Yeah.
laugh at Jim Carrey or whomever, and then people get angry, people fall in love together. But in VR, although they have technologies now that host, like I think it was big screen VR that launched like the multiple cinema kind of thing,
Mm. Yeah.
yeah,
change the environment, right? And
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
that's amazing, but still you're not together, right?
Mhm.
And it continues this distance. And that was one of the biggest discussion we had in Venice too, is like the connection you have with your audience, especially if your subject matter is not that, it's not like games that you're like, oh shit, it's,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be there. It's so active, right? So for me, that I think those are the cons of VR. Not that it discourages people, but only the people that really are interested in VR will go
Mhm.
to VR. And I
Yeah.
think that's the toughest part of the market right now. And I mean, 2020 should have proven that VR is such an impactful
Yeah.
thing, but still, the scale kind of moved, but it did not do much. I mean, let me know, Anissa, if I'm wrong, if your friends in London are saying differently. But I'm basically in San Francisco, where Facebook is a stone's throw away, and still they release Oculus Rift 2, I think, or the newest one, and
Yeah.
still very like again, my grandmother, my father will never touch it. It's us, and then
Yeah.
probably Gen Z, but still, even them, they're just happy with their phones. Some of them, actually, majority of them. So I think there's still this like consumer disconnect so far.
Mhm.
I don't know, so far. And again, another one could be that, you know, financiers are not, you know, and I'm basing this on my own experience. Financiers are really questioning what's the ROI. How do we get the ROI? What, you know, where are you gonna distribute it? I mean, Anissa, you touch base on it, but a lot of the financiers are really not comfortable with this world yet because there has not been a proven sale of a VR film that is really groundbreaking.
Yep.
And that's like hard for you and me, and you too, Aditya, that's coming in. We just have to really be aware of this, because then we just become, you know, basically a exhibition artist. It's
Mm.
not about the return. It's most
Yeah,
about what you tell. Yeah.
yeah, quite
So
agree.
Yeah, we'll dig more about the distribution later.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
before that, um, how did you how did you um, sort of I know Anissa has special equipment with
Yeah.
gloves and to tell
Yeah.
their stories.
So
Um, yeah, how did you VR projects?
okay. So mine is actually a VR that was supposedly shot for underwater too. The thing is, this project came to a halt when the government did not allow us to shoot there.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's where the financiers kind of like, oh shit,
Mm-hmm.
then the project is not happening, and then all of our technology has to be brought back to the United States because there are no equipment rental there that will house, you know, um, a 360 recorder for sound, and then also the camera that we needed, and we just need to bring one. But again, it's so remote, we could not bring one, so we have to bring another because of the location. But then the government has to halt it, and that's where the political massacre, whatever, crime, whatever happened. Anyway, so for me, that's where the buck stopped for our film. Yeah, but we were all almost all ready, and even Venice was kind of disappointed that it did not happen because of the politics. But yeah, so there you go.
Oh wow! And so, you, to experience your story, we do not require a special equipment like Anissa using gloves.
No, because
So,
ours is
it,
a 360, so you can actually watch it in YouTube. It's more mostly really generated. What do you call it? The impact is generated through the storytelling and the people that
hmm,
are involved, and the geopolitics of China. Wherein back in 2018, it was really heating in the South China Sea,
yeah.
and that's why they didn't allow us to go in.
Oh, all right. So um, everyone can enjoy that with a phone, smartphone, and then you can have a very cheap cardboard,
I have
like
that.
a
I have that.
Google
I have
Google
to find
cardboard.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, the cardboard.
even with the phone, right? The thing is that you lost is you have a distraction if you don't use a cardboard. Yeah. So everyone can watch your VR film.
Correct.
All right. So we'll dig into the distribution and
Oh God.
learning from your experience. Uh, how did you distribute this all your VR projects? I imagine reaching out to the audience would have would have its own challenges, you know, with kind of product.
Yeah. So I'll answer first. Actually, our project has a distributor. We
Mm,
signed. Yeah. So this is how ready we are, and we signed with back then. Mark Zuckerberg announced VR a year before, and then they started commissioning projects and producers across California. So one of our producers is one of the companies they launched with. So we had that.
oh,
And it was easy, not because, what do you call this, not because of the lack of, I mean, not because of not trying, but because of our connection with that person. But before we signed him, let me tell you, we've been selected with Venice. We've been selected, and we've been talking to. If you guys been to the Venice Production Bridge, it's one of the best, most amazing places to go in if you have a project. You'll meet with like 30, 40 people in a day, and they're
Mm.
all producers and they're all distributors, and you can sign up your film with them. And still, with the production bridge, it did not happen. And you
Mm.
understand why? Because again, Chinese politics. It's heavy on the criticism against that country. We're in that
Mm.
country flooding money even to festivals as we speak. So, but we're okay with that because we signed in into this Facebook VR company. But I'd say it's harder than a traditional feature film that has names in it and A-list names. And we've got interest from so many people, and still, like, um, it's really about them being secure about knowing where your project is gonna land. That's just it.
Mm.
Am I bringing the house down? Oh shit!
Wow.
Because I feel sad to telling these people that VR is hard, because VR is fucking
It's
hard.
tough world.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
tougher.
right, right, right.
Mhm.
Um, do you think do you think there is a market on VR projects have at this moment, moreover in the Southeast Asia or yeah, Asia?
Is that for me or Anissa?
You first.
Okay,
You.
I think as I said, I think on one of our chats, when I got home, I felt like Anissa. I talked to the film development council. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. The ecosystem doesn't exist. So I poised myself. Okay, fudge this, or fuck this. I'm gonna launch, VR Philippines, and then you kind of like I had automatically get door slammed in my face multiple times, and then you realize, oh shit, I don't think Southeast Asia is ready for this. I don't think my country is ready for this. So you kind of look into the outside world, and you realize, oh shucks, Taipei, Singapore, Korea, and Japan are really poised. And I just read an article before this call, and I can send it to you guys, that those four countries are going to lead the Asian VR market.
Mhm.
Then where is our participation
Yeah.
to that pie? And that's always been the challenge, because there's so limited of us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
First, there's no money. Second, there are no filmmakers that are daring to do it. Third, there's no technology.
Mhm.
So these are the three hurdles we have to accomplish. Even if, say for example, I send all VR cameras, like what happened to my
Mhm.
project, in there, it's also talking about what kind of content we're going to show, and
Yeah.
then where we're going to show it. Yeah, so it's like, again, that filmmaking riddle, but added to that is the question mark of the people. Huh, what is VR?
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, film. Holy shit. It's like you don't have to explain film. Film has been there since
Exactly.
our birth, right? Okay, your
Yeah.
turn, because I feel sad.
You feel depressed already. Well, for me, it's like because when I've been told by VR that it's still like developing technology, it's just like a walkie-talkie when smartphone was being established at first. So I thought like this is the struggle, like what E said before. I mean, nobody gonna put attention to us just easy like that. But it's more like we should slowly sort of like complementing the existing storytelling platform first to get the attention, to steal the attention, because what we strongly believe is the impact that we felt. It's, we cannot lie that VR, when we explain VR to anyone, they should just watch the VR film. We couldn't, sort of like explain what kind of VR is. No use of that. Just
Yeah.
watch VR because that makes impression on people. And I think that the most important is that we can steal the opportunity to display it first. Just like he said earlier, it's like we kind of sort of like an exhibition artist first to steal the attention on how we craft the storytelling or the story or the narrative inside the VR film, because slowly they will realize that they need that. For me, especially, VR has been helping me in mental health, for example, because for me, it's not like an exit or getaway. a platform so people can, sort of like forget about the reality. It's not like that. For me, it's like a room to contemplate with myself, a room where I can actually sort of like release my sort of like my imagination in some place where I couldn't get it in real life. So I have like enriched my memories through watching VR film, and I still can remember how I felt about the film. And I
Yes.
think that sort of like motivate every day of my life. So I think in the future, like slowly in the future, like most of people will need those kind of entertainment. So it's not just traditional filmmaking should be still exist, because we just adding more option. It's not like shifting or changing or replacing something. We give a space where people need this kind of entertainment, need this kind of solitude when they participate in the story, where they can feel so much richness in how they interpret a storytelling. So I think even though right now like people, like what he said before, like Southeast Asia, not really kind of like familiar, but also not really having demand on using or watching a film through VR. The challenge is the content itself, like how us as a filmmaker who decide to sort of like dig
Yeah.
into this world, to this VR world, to really put like prioritize the content that is really fit and necessary to be produced through VR filmmaking, to be produced as immersive, to be produced as interactive. Because I think even though for gaming or this kind of experience, they have the storytelling itself, but for VR live action or things that we talk about issues, urgent issues, or the narrative one we talk about like sort of like more important or human story. I think it's really still important to document it into VR technology, because in the future people will look back and sort of like wanted to feel this kind of experience, and VR actually give you more intense, more personal, more closer. So yeah, I think slow but sure, it's according to the player, it's according to the content creator, to the filmmaker itself, to sort of deliver the proper story through VR. So not all the stories need to be VR, but at least we know the priority to showcase the story through VR, why it's still important.
Correct. I
Yeah,
agree with you. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, I think in Southeast Asia, see, I've started VR, what, 2017, 2018, 20. Yeah, so that's, imagine that trend. And I have three projects for VR. And I'm still, I'm still reeling and trying to fight for it. And yet
yeah,
still nothing is happening in the VR sphere in Philippines. I'm not talking about like, Malaysia or you guys, but in my own country, there's nothing going on. So where do I go? Of course, I go to the market that is here, who understands the California understands the universe of VR making. But if I go back there, then it's a totally, we're like pioneers. I mean, so like
yeah,
we have to break the walls ourselves, right?
yeah.
We have to
True.
we have to do it all, and then when we do it, I would feel fucking sorry. I keep I would
It's
feel so
alright.
happy because then hopefully there would be a waterfall of stories, as you said, that then would just come organically. And a filmmaker, instead of
Yeah,
just getting a camera, would get a VR camera, even the just the cheap Samsung one, and be like,
exactly.
"Damn, I'm recording this right now in a VR."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm curious about how's the ecosystem especially in Indonesia, Anissa. I heard that some of the VR companies developing VR stories and but more, I think that in edutainment and stuff.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, I think as it's I speak as I observed in the last 2 years, since I was looking for like people that I could collaborate with. I think we actually have a PR companies who focus on education.
Wow.
So they actually distribute like Google Cardboard to the elementary school students, and they sort of like, for example, teaching dinosaurs through VR film, this kind of stuff. So they made like CGI or like animation through VR. So I think that's a good fresh air, because at least like the young generation, even though it's just being exposed in the big cities, but at least they kind of appreciate how they learn through VR method. It's much more powerful. But then the other part is like for VR gaming. We actually Indonesia currently being sort of like there are a lot of PR company or a game company that actually being developed in the past years. Um, and I think like government support also, or industry in general, they sort of like looking for game, being part of the game development, this kind of stuff. So it's really good opportunity as well. But then again, it's like a CGI or 3D or animation and this kind of stuff with storytelling, which is also good. But then in terms of the VR live action, I think it's still very rare opportunity here, especially when we talk about campaign, like we want to sort of like target it, international organization, talking about our animal distinction, this kind of stuff, and we want to document it through VR. We still really need to convince them even more. Like this is like really great opportunity for us to talk about like conservation, this kind of stuff. But then again, like what he said before, like somehow they really want to know how to people to access the film and
Mm.
what kind of the revenue of the exhibition and this kind of stuff. But I think it's too early to talk about this kind of return, because what VR exists is to expand and leverage the impact on the changing our behavior, our perspective. And I think to get this kind of like collaborators who understand that, who want to invest on that, because it's like in public relations industry, it's not the it's kind of like a long term investment. It's not like, it's not like
Yes.
the yeah, right. I mean, the message that you actually deliver is not something that you could return in like 1 year or immediately. So it's supposed to be we have to sort of like explain them a little bit about that kind of context. But for me, it's like I tried several times, like to somehow convince even in like kind of like more marketing for a feature films.
Mhm.
It's also being actually being very interesting when we sort of like expand the experience for the audience through VR, when they after they watch the 2D films and then they kind of like wanted to have more experience in VR. Actually, they kind of understand the concept, but still they kind of afraid and hesitate to invest on that money yet, because they somehow not sure if people would actually like the name of VR. I mean, the name of going
Mm.
there on exhibition, this kind of stuff. But I think when I think about it again in Indonesia, it's pretty. I think it's pretty normal here, because they not really getting exposed yet about VR. I mean, they just know VR like a couple of years ago, but for gaming and stuff. So I think the struggle is real, but it's normal. I mean, it's normal to break it into it, because I think we can see like more of leaders, like in industry leaders here, are going to be exposed by VR, because they're going to festival, international festival, and they sort of knew that Facebook doing that, like Google doing that, this kind of stuff. So I think slowly they will, sort of like wanted to make their own thing. So yeah, I think that's a more how I should market it, how I should like pitch the idea, that is even more double effort than when I pitch film or something like that. So extra work, but it's
Yeah.
exciting. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So you are one of the pioneer of VR in your country, in the
I
Philippines.
don't know. Okay.
Uh,
Maybe by the time I'm done, I'll be like the grandmother or something. I don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah.
how is the ecosystem? How's the filmmaker enthusiasm?
Honestly, there's not a lot, and I mean, I'm part of that, you know, the the I don't know, the system itself. So it's not talked about. I'm so jealous of you guys of Indonesia, of even having that sphere of communication and gaming. And it's only there's only VR Philippines that is a nonprofit organization. That's it. It
Mm.
There's no other VR company out there that's championing VR storytelling in a narrative sense. Of course, we would have animators that are subcontractors to doing animated, VR and also gaming storytelling. But there are no, again, ideating VR as, you know, again, infrastructure is missing. Yeah, there are no the cost of a VR camera. I mean, even if you hold one, right? I mean, it's like super massive. I saw, and we're so privileged to have seen it, a red concoction, like literally like 12 red
Wow.
cameras that is
Red.
hanging on a helicopter for a VR shoot. We were like, what the heck is this? And it's red. I think it was Scarlet. So it's like, it's like holy Shakespeare. What
Yeah.
universe is this? Just this infrastructure alone of VR in our country doesn't exist. So it has to be built. It has to be built. I think, like what you said, you guys are getting government grants. It has to be built with the government. But still, with the struggles of this, then you have the exhibition, right? With the exhibition, you would need again a second infrastructure. You would need the the headsets. You would need people to clean the headsets. You would need people to give the headset to the people and to instruct the people. There's
Yeah.
just so many workflow compared to a film that for sure Philippines will probably be 3 to 5 years behind than you guys. And it's bizarre because there's so many stories out there in our countries in Southeast Asia that are so
Yeah.
immersive, that is
Right.
this it is like what you pitch, Aditya. Holy Shakespeare in love. That's gonna be beautiful, you
Yeah.
know. And you're there, you're breathing it, and our cultures, they just need this.
Yeah.
And there's
Right.
very few of us. So it just pains me because I personally want to just buy, a camera, like an Obsidian camera, and just
Mhm.
give it to the Filipinos and be like, go ahead, just
Yeah.
take it. But it alone costs what, 60 grand? So you're like, where do we start? When do we start really investing in this? In this method. But then again, there's that ROI and that whole thing. So it has to be a whole industry effort, I think. Oh my God, am I bringing everybody down again? No, we can do
No,
it.
no, no, no.
Oh my God.
So true,
Yeah,
right?
but
It's
it's
so true.
Do you think?
yeah, it's true. I
Do you
mean,
think? I'm very on fire. You know.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
do that. You're
he's
so
like in
brave.
the
And
fake
I just
Yeah.
motivation.
googled it. You know that culture. I don't even know that culture, and I'm like, wow, this motherfucker knows what he's doing. Put camera in the middle of the ritual. Just
Yeah.
oh God, you know what that would do? They'll be like, whoa, holy shit! People will remove their headset. People will this. It's just gonna be
Yeah,
a
the reaction.
sensational, right? It's just
Yeah.
gonna be a sensational thing, and you're
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
challenge everybody's perspective on what you're showing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. The thing is, VR is offering a world. You know, where
Yeah.
you can stand in the character shoes, or you can be there and feel, and because it's 360s, and you can see down, you can see it up,
Yeah.
it is very immersive, so you feel being there.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and you know how old my obsession is. Google Cardboard that you mentioned before
Yeah.
was free. That's how long I've
Mm.
been obsessed with VR. Back then,
Yeah.
Google Cardboard, you just type your email and address, and they would send you a free Google Cardboard.
Oh, that's
Literally.
great.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's how they promoted it before. And I'm like,
They
oh my
promoted it
God,
first.
this is my world. This is my universe. And
Yeah.
they're just giving it away for free. And now, of course, you have to pay it for like $7 or something. But that's how much they want people to be involved in it.
To
And
get
I
to know.
think for our countries, yeah, for our countries to get it, it has to be this
Mm.
kind of movement. Get it for free. Here's
Mm, yeah.
what we are. Here you go. do the gaming, do everything, but it has to start from something that is very people could just go in there and just take it for free. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the same thing when I first got into like PR marketing distribution
Yeah.
workshop. They gave it for free because they wanted people actually to experience it the experience it by themselves, and then they can pick to other people and promote it. I think that's very important to be accessible in that kind of way. I mean,
But
in a
again,
more cheap way.
yeah, but again, since VR is isolating, as I said a while ago, some people don't talk about it because it's their own experience.
Yeah,
It's not like a film, yeah. So there's also that
yeah,
special bond you have with that narrative. It's like I don't want to talk about Notes on Blindness. I don't want to talk about Chris Milk, but it's like what it impacts us is so different, right, than film. So there's also that divide. There's gonna be a science
conversation.
to it. Yeah, there's gonna be a science to this that we're just gonna embrace this.
Yeah, I think so.
Hmm.
Oh wait, sorry, my
Yeah.
video disappeared.
Yeah.
I'm just getting my charger.
Oh, I see.
Okay,
Back.
okay. Sorry.
All right, we're waiting for E. Wow.
Continue, guys. Hold on. Sorry.
All right.
Wow, I can't wait to develop my first VR
Yay.
projects.
You should develop it. You're crazy. You've got the best story.
Yeah, I almost got a chance to shoot
Yeah, you told me. You even have the camera, man.
yeah, I already had the camera, but the thing is,
Something happened.
yeah, something happened.
I'm telling you, something always happens.
Yes, but that's actually true. That's the challenge already. Yeah.
Okay. I think I found the charger. Okay, good. Sorry, guys. I love you so much. Okay, good.
It's all right.
All
Okay.
right. Yeah. All right. Because this technology is evolving now, do you think there is a new profession or working opportunity that pops up due to this new method of storytelling?
You wanna go?
Who's
Anita?
gonna Who's gonna go first?
You can
Uh,
go. Yeah.
okay. All right. I think definitely yes, because what I learned the most with my previous VR is like we have to be I mean to be very collaborative with other industries as well, especially in technology aspects and psychology aspects. So it's not like just make a story being perceived by people, but it's like the reaction, the sensation, and the long lasting impact that they will gain through the film. Even when you watch the film twice, you get different, different sensation and different experience. So I think the of course also the animator or something like that. It's very important when we actually have a good synergy between these people to create immersive experience, something that we break the boundary. I think that's very needed when we talk, not just the same through the same filmmakers. I mean, the same circle of filmmaking, but
Mhm.
also engineering and also psychology or other, depends on the story that we want to touch. And the profession is really needed, like especially since the research development, research as a researcher, as the engineer, as the technician, as the one who also control the experience, and even the promotion and the marketing. We need to actually give it to the people who can understand the audience, and having research on that behavior after watching it, and how to attract people on that. And even in the business sector, we need the sales, and I mean someone who actually know the opportunity we could tap into the existing industry. So I think this kind of profession needs more focus. Maybe we don't have much name on how we label this synergy. But I think the collaboration is really giving more opportunity of job description, different job description, and customize it into the VR filmmaking itself. So there will be more specialists in this industry. So I think the specialist, for example, like now we are a VR filmmaker, I sort of not really somehow hesitate to call myself VR filmmaker just because I'm not sure that I know much about it yet. But I think we should introduce ourselves as we actually make a VR film. So if someone talked about us, if they think of us as a specialist, like why not? Because we actually dig in on this specific area of VR filmmaking. So I think to start to label ourselves as a key players, it's helping people to get to know that this kind of job is important and this kind of job is really specific and needed in order to create a proper VR film. So there will be a more opportunity and jobs in this field if we put more focus on it. Yeah.
Um, what do you think about the cinematographer working on this? Because the language, the visual language is different.
Mhm.
What do you think about that, Eve?
Well, of course, how do I say this? Of course, when you do VR, it's spherical, right? You have to think of the whole environment.
Yeah.
It's 360, and for the cinematographer, especially I do not know, like narrative, especially for narrative cinematographer, there should be a foresight because depends on the non-immersive, immersive, and semi-immersive. Am I right? Type of storytelling. You have to make sense of what the audience is gonna look at and where they're gonna look at.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? You have to predict somehow. Oh shit, they're gonna go
Yeah.
here, they're gonna go here, they're gonna look down, they're gonna look up, they're gonna go side, they're gonna go all around, and you have to know that. And as a cinematographer, I think it's not just necessarily the light, and which is what 50% of their thing, but there's no
Mhm.
such thing as framing.
Hmm.
So it
Yes.
really it instead of like them being restricted, it actually explodes it to no boundaries. So I think that's more the challenge of cinematographers in that field. But if it's a narrative universe, it's the same thing because my friend shot a horror project which is part of the Venezia, and it's on a dolly too. It was the entire film was on a
Mhm.
dolly, and you're kind of like, again, the calculation is totally different, and they discussed this with us too and how they were going to shoot it, and the lights, of course, how you're going to. So the cinematography in VR is really coincided, and correct me, Anissa, if I'm wrong, with the post, and they have to work side by
Yes,
side. Your
exactly.
post team is there as you're
Yeah.
shooting to tell you, no, motherfucker, that's not at
Yeah.
all. You cannot
Not
erase
impossible.
the
Yeah.
sun, right? It's like, no, you
Yes.
cannot. Sorry, pardon my language, Aditya. Oh my God,
It's
this is
okay.
education. So it's like, no, you're not. You're not allowed to remove this. You cannot do this. That's gonna be extra twenty
Yeah.
thousand dollars.
Hmm.
So there's so much
Yeah.
to consider as a cinematographer. But again, you work side by side with your post team, so that budget
Yeah.
wise you're there, story wise you keep the vision of the creators and your vision as a cinematographer. But man, oof, it's gonna be a fun ride for that cinematographer to transition.
Yeah, right. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, but
I
like,
think
yeah, go ahead,
I know,
Anissa.
no, you finish first.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
go
just
ahead.
saying I was so enamored by your answer a while ago. But what other jobs that are there to be built by this industry? There's so much, but it's not just that too. It's also the application. And I love that question.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's also the
Yeah.
application of VR.
Mhm.
You're talking about, like, you're talking about training, right? Training
Yeah.
on the military. You're talking about training on the. I mean, you've been to the ISS with the thing, right?
Yeah.
International Space Station. So the hard to reach places, you can train people. You can train people without harming
Yeah.
themselves. So
Mm.
there's so many aspects to VR that is amazing, to marketing, to education, to people who are so far away that cannot really hear or cannot really
Yeah.
have the same immersive experience with a real teacher, and also medical. when we were in Venice, and this is why you guys should submit to Venice VR when they do the next call, is because like one of the projects that got picked to be screened in Venice, I think the year later, was this medical experiment, and it's the
Mm.
same with you, Aditya, Anisa. It's touching into something like a deaf thing, but their end is like a France, and also talking about the social economic net of the medical facility or whatnot. And you see the application of it. They go to the ER, they go, and it's all in VR, and
Yeah.
you will never get there unless unless you watch that kind of film, and that's the beauty of.
Mm.
So there's so much application to it on top of the jobs that it will then create. There's
Yeah.
just so many usage that it's not just film. I think it's opening to so many things. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll just be, VR directors for like videos that are like training or something.
Yeah, yeah, actually, yeah, because I think that's as you said, it's the application. I think, especially in Indonesia, like we sort of like into cultures and there's tourism places. Actually, we could actually use that for the opportunity to and getting people to be familiar in how you to use VR. Maybe not the local people, but also the international attention to what Indonesia has. So I think, yeah, it's like the opening door of this sort of like most easy application because we sort of like want to display our nature, this kind of stuff. But then at that advanced level, like we could use it for like training, like sort of like education. I think like I voices. No?
I think there's an echo.
Yeah, I think there's an echo, but now it's gone.
Is that me?
Oh no, yeah, still, yeah.
Yeah, it's still there. What is
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
It's like an ambulance, no?
Oh, it's
Yeah,
it's
I think
Adit.
it's mine. 'Cause I live nearby the streets, you know. Even the
Train.
train
Oh,
is
it's
very
a
close
train
from here.
station, not the ambulance.
Thought it was
Yeah.
the ambulance.
I think it's fine now.
Oh yeah, it's fine now. We
Yeah,
can continue.
yeah,
Well, so what I was saying, yeah, I think from that door, from that, somehow promoting something like cultures and tourism, and then afterwards we can go for more applicable daily life basis like education, training, and this kind of stuff. Even promotion, e-commerce, this kind of stuff actually could be applied by VR as well. In Indonesia, I think like maybe in some places as well, like the property industry, they also kind of like
Yeah,
using
correct.
video already. So I think we can leverage the applications much more. But it's like through time through time that we could actually convince them that, oh yeah, you could actually use it on daily basis. Because for
Exactly.
me, it's like compared to like the AR, I think that the function is much more reliable for people to use it immediately rather than VR because we have tools and this kind of stuff. So I think it's still possible, but not like very fast to convince people that they need it in their
We
life
need
in their
money. Bottom line, money in across Southeast Asia.
yes, part of my money.
Bring in the cameras, bring in the infrastructure, bring in some
Yeah.
teachers, educate us. And I think Singapore International Film Festival is doing that. They,
Oh,
Mm, all right,
yeah, I think so.
right.
And I want to add, like, for the previous topic when he talked about cinematographer relationship with the post production process, I
Mm,
think that VR is really a technique that us need to have a backward planning on the final output yet, like knowing how do we need to display this, what kind of format that we will export this, and especially in post production, if people not yet familiar, the audio pause is really important, like the having 360 audio, binaural sound, and also how do we really stitching the video according to what kind of intention that the sorry my voice, that the director want us to focus on, just like he said, like the color, the lighting, even the some movement around us, is actually affecting how the audience will experience. So I think the whole directing is the
Yeah.
whole construction from the final result and backward planning to the shooting. So it's not like something you can fix it on pause. So I mean, like that's
It's
really
post
tricky.
first. You do post first, I think.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
story and the post first. Because oh
Yeah.
god. Also, Anissa, right? Extra money. Oh my god. By the way, post VR. You think a film post is expensive? Holy shit.
Yes.
This is gonna be fun. You guys do it. I love it. The challenges, and then it educates us. I remember a friend that Jimmy rigged 36 GoPros into a camera because they cannot afford anything and they're gonna return it, but they could not return the 36 GoPros anyway because they have to remove all the sensors and change the.
Oh
Oh my
Wow.
god!
God.
It's a
Inspiration.
massive globe. You see what I mean? But they had to do it as
Mm,
filmmakers, like engineers, right? They become like,
yeah.
and then yeah, and it's beautiful. Oh my god, shot in 4K. I mean, you could not ask. Every angle has been covered. Like so, it's like, oh, the stitching process though was bloodbath.
Mm, yeah.
Wow.
I
So
think
much
that's a challenge for the cinematographer. Yeah.
Yeah.
because yeah, because it'll be too much, and then it'll be like, uh, you, Aditya, do you know, right? Like it's stitching together the
Yeah.
visual.
Rigging with a rigging, right?
So if it's 36 cameras you have, oh God. So you're like, oh no. And then it's moving and it's going, oh Lord, God bless you. Yeah. All fun. It's all fun. Really, really fun.
Mhm.
Yeah. You have a special equipment because you mostly shooting on underwater, right?
Yes, that was yeah, correct. And ours was I think was it the Nokia also or something like, but it was ready for underwater. And my cinematographer shot a VR project with Prince Albert of Monaco, and she's a Filipino underwater diver, so she's
Wow.
very used to the device. But yeah, it's underwater again. It's probably the best way to shoot it is 360. I'm a diver, as I told Aditya.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way to experience underwater except 360.
Yes.
You guys have ever, you're curious, just Google whatever underwater 360, and you'll be like, holy fuck, she's not kidding. And then take some weed. No, sorry. Oh my God, I am in education now. I forgot.
Keep going. It's
It's
okay.
Just
It's
cut it, just
okay. Yeah. We have an editor.
I didn't look at it.
We're
Add
gonna
sorry.
a sound like
put the
beep.
beats. Yeah.
Yeah, adding like a beep sound.
Okay, that's too much information for you, Aditya.
Wow. I'm very exciting. I know this is a lot, but as a filmmaker, I really want to dig in. I want to try.
Dude, your story, it has to be VR.
Yeah, I already bought a,
Yeah, I
a
agree.
headset just to experience. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just to experience.
It's gonna be beautiful. And then you've got the binaural sound, you got the 360 sound. Oh my
Mhm.
god, the drums, you've got everything going on, the dancing. Holy Shakespeare. I think it's gonna be a surprise here in the West if they see that kind of content from you guys.
Agree.
Even some Filipino traditions, I've always wanted to shoot it in 360. Again, it's just a matter of
Right,
people and
The
infrastructure.
environment.
And yeah,
right. Yeah, yeah.
so you have to do it. There are like two girls here that are telling you to do it, right, Anissa?
Yes. He will. He will do it.
You
I'll
guys,
make sure.
you guys gonna be my mentor, all right?
Yeah, well, we producing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we'll make sure he will do it.
All right. I have one last question, and
Uh-oh.
probably this is would be more personal.
Uh-oh.
I mean,
Uh-oh.
yeah, very simple. What is, what are you, what are your future plans in storytelling? How does VR fit into your vision? And can you see other new ways enrich your audience and tell your story?
You go first.
I go first. Okay.
Yeah.
That is a powerful question, Aditya. What are you in? Like, this is amazing question.
Yes.
Um, I don't know. So I'm all about the environment. I'm all about the politics of my country, but I'm also about womanhood. So one of the projects I'm doing, which got into the first round of the Sundance New Frontier Labs, is is about this. So in the Philippines, abortion is not legal. I don't know if in your country it is, but it's not in the
Okay.
Philippines because we're a Catholic nation and it's like whatever. So women go there to an abortionist. So the title of the project is abortionist, and they try to do their abortion there. So that's just the entire film. Women go back and forth into this room wherein it's a real abortionist clinic. It's a hidden abortionist clinic in the Philippines, and they go in and out. So this is a very personal project to me. Why I have to tell it in VR? Because um, you know, you would not feel the rigor. Like throughout this women coming in and out, you will be hearing 6 stories of 6 different women from ages 14 who got pregnant by her own uncle to age like 65 who got pregnant. I don't know how by science, but these women are all real. They're all Filipinas, and why it needs to be told in VR is because it's more impactful this way. It's, not that I'm diminishing the value of film or documentary. You will be there and captured within the universe of just that abortionist. And right in front of you, he is doing what he needs to do. There will be two abortion performance in a way. That's what we call it. But really, it's a sign off by the women. Of course, we're gonna block their faces and blur it, but that's what's gonna happen. It's a real experience. So why it's mostly me standing up and saying, why aren't we giving these people, these women, the nature, the rights to do it? And I think that will be the most impactful way. There is no more. I think, of course, we can rally on the streets, but as artists, this is what we do. And I think that is the most a thing that I can do for VR and also for people to listen. Is that too much? I think that's a little too much, guys.
Wow, that's very powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or it's fucked up, but it has to be told, right? And if,
Yeah.
if I can put it in a senator's head, or a congressman's head, I'll be like,
Mm,
guys, this is what women go through, and
yeah.
here are their stories, and these are real women. Of course, I'm not gonna tell you who they are, but these are real stories, and you gotta give us a change.
Mhm.
Put it in law that abortion is legal. We cannot balloon into 200 million population with no social safety net. It doesn't exist. It doesn't make sense. So there you go. It is a freaking personal question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. That's why it needs to be VR.
Mhm.
Wow. Can't wait for that.
Yeah.
No, that will be next year too, hopefully. How about you, Anissa? You're crazy. You're like me.
I think like we were being bored by your pitch just now. I think like you really need to film that, and we want to
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because for me also, I think I was always being involved in social impact activities since I was young. So I think that's how it got somehow integrated with my creative works. Because for me, it's like I should not separate this purpose, even though somehow like creativity is just for entertainment or something like that. But I really want to crack the code how the creativity could also give you a concrete social impact.
mhm.
Because I think I live in this universe. I just want to give a legacy that people could somehow being helped, at least being accompanied by it. Not a big move or big changes, but at least they feel sort of being accompanied by my storytelling, just because they know something that can feel it. They can feel they think that it's important to help them in survive this world. Oh my god! So it's kind of like very heavy topic already.
You're
But
right.
yeah, this question's really. But and anyway, so when I started my filmmaking journey, I never categorize my, should make a 2D films or animation, this kind of stuff, because I did everything already. I mean, I wrote for animation, I did like series, I did a short film, and I did VR. I think that doesn't matter how, the tools or the format, but the most important is the purpose and the impact that I want to create. And VR is one of the platform that I think it impact me so much as a person. I mean, when I watched the first movie that I watched in VR, it was talking about Amazon, indigenous people in Amazon, and the way people somehow like destructing their environment there. And even though I never really myself going there, but I can feel it how they
Yeah.
were just, they were just like all living side by side with the nature, but then all this sudden changes make them suffering. And that's made me feel like, oh my god, this VR films really giving me like impactful, and it's kind of like we couldn't really describe how impactful it is unless we experience a film. So yeah, this is really difficult to explain how it impacted me. But after that, I slowly watched more and more film, and I felt like this is the most somehow impactful way for me, for myself, that I experienced the story. And in my future, instead of just showing the social issue or something like that, but I also want to dig in on how we exhibit it in a public places or in the individual journey, because I think I need to be responsible on how I also deliver the film. Just like us making 2D films, we want to know about distribution as well. So I think in the future, I want to get to know more about the distribution aspect and what kind of new path that I could create, especially in my country, because every country has different kind of entrance way. So apart from that issues, I also very interested in sort of like personal stories like mental health and this kind of like woman story, as you said before. I'm totally really hooked by the abortion stuff. I mean, like, oh yeah, that's actually something that we should tell in more immersive way, so people can get the point of immediately. And apart from that, also actually I'm helping my friends to go for cultural and also underwater VR that they will shoot it like next year. Yeah,
Nice.
so it's also about like a bombing underwater.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this kind
That's,
of stuff. Yeah, so I need to actually ask
get
your
me.
advice
I'll,
for that.
I'll dive for you. I'll dive for you for free. I'm a master diver, so I'll
Yeah.
give
Yeah,
us
but
ability.
I want to admit it, like I cannot swim. So yes, yeah. So I never really talked about it, but yeah, now I said it to everyone. Like, I cannot swim. So but I really enjoy the VR underwater, because when I watch like National Geographic and stuff, like I really want to go deep down there and see all the creatures, because I love animals so much. But then VR actually helps, and that's why I want to help my
Are
friends
you
to
are
go
you
for that.
scared of the water, or you just never tried to swim
I actually, it's just because I don't know. I think it's just my personality issue that I'm not really comfortable in going
underwater?
underwater. I mean, it's like I need to have a private session on that. That's kind of really totally like, yeah. I need to, you need to teach me.
Yeah. Can I tell you a little secret?
What?
Yeah. Divers are not great swimmers.
Ah.
So it's
Yeah,
different.
not
So
all
they
of them.
just know the technique on going down
Yeah,
there
I'm going
for.
down because although
Hmm.
before you get certified, you need to do the whole 750-meter swim nonstop, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to technically in diving you just sink, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. Yeah,
Then
yeah, yeah. You mean
you go kick and you go the distance. So technically you do not need to know swimming,
skills?
but
Like,
they would just need to tell you that you need to do this.
hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so. I mean, I need to explore a lot of stuff.
I'll
But
teach you.
anyway, yeah, sure. Well, anyway, so apart from that, my own interest on doing my own project, but also willing to help anyone who interested in doing PR. Like my friend want to do conservation, my friend want to do the underwater. So I really want to help as much as I can, in terms of at least like knowing the narrative, at least ask for, together to ask funding or to get somehow a chance to collaborate in any way. So
We're
I
gonna
think
talk.
that's, yeah, talk. Yeah, I think so. I think in the near future, I just want to get involved in any kind of project that I think it's matter to be shot in VR,
I'm
and
sure in April.
delivering, and also this kind of actually this kind of events like socialize how VR is important in some ways is
Yes.
very needed in Indonesia and also maybe in some countries, because talking about it, making conversation about it is very important. As E said before, maybe when we experience the VR, we don't really tend to talk much because that's kind of very personal for us. But no, maybe we should actually at least make a conversation about how we felt about VR, so people will get intrigued and interested in doing what we do as well.
Yeah, I think 2021 will be formative for VR Philippines, hopefully. But yeah, you're right. I hope.
Yeah.
I thank you, Aditya. My God, Lord, this is such a great platform. And women, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know. I know. And uh, like me, I haven't got a chance um, to try make a VR on storytelling. How can I dig into that platform? How can I get information and stuff? Where I can learn? Do
You
you have
wanna
any information about that?
fastest is YouTube. Go and watch as much 360 films that you can because that's the most accessible. The rest you can download in Steam.
Hmm.
I hope you guys know Steam. Yeah, but Steam
Yeah.
or the I yeah, I think HTC too. HTC has some content, and a lot of content makers are online too. Some of the origin filmmakers are all in YouTube though. Some of the beginning VR masters are all in YouTube. So you got free access there. You just have to have the time,
Hmm.
and then again the infrastructure.
All right.
Um, I think what I mean, what makes me feel want to get to know VR more is like apart from getting short courses or something like that, online free short courses about VR that exist as well.
Hmm.
But when I hear a lot of filmmakers who just shift uh, and start their first VR, is also inspired me a lot to do my own, because they also came from the experience where they know nothing about VR, so they also just do it and just make an experiment trial on that first, and then I think hearing those kind of experience, like I also heard from Fanny's alumni from that program as well, it also makes me feel motivated that everybody is actually starting it. Don't worry about how advanced yet, just the chip one, the chip camera, it's also actually make an impact on the 360. At least we understand how we want to deliver the story. So I think practice is also very important in complementing those knowledge that we gain for free from the internet. So just do it. So I need to just film it. Yeah.
All right. I think that's it. Um, thank you so much for.
Yay!
Uh, I was I was very inspired on what you guys just tell us about your future plans. You have a very powerful story, and the most important issues, and I learned and I got inspired from both of you.
Wow.
I hope the audience too. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think what I get, I it doesn't matter what medium that we use.
Yep.
The reason why we make movies or video games or stuff like that, whatever it is to entertain. But the most important is to tell us a story.
Yeah.
And thank you for these talks.
Oh, it's
Uh,
ended already. We
Yeah.
should have another session on this.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We're gonna have
Not,
another
not,
session of.
not recorded, so I can say all my F bombs.
Yeah, yes. Nothing to be censored anymore. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. All
Perfect.
right. I need to say goodbye first for the pre-recorded, and then we can
Okay.
after that.
All
Okay.
right.
Thank you for joining this session, storytelling in the near future with Anissa Ajam and E Del Mundo. We'll see you guys soon, and thank you. Bye bye.